Welcome to the Wednesday show, where things get a little weird. Okay, so we are off to the grocery store because we need food. And that's part of today's episode of the Wednesday show. We're going to see if we're going to take some chances, see if we get lucky. It's the frozen food aisle. Somewhere along here, we will take our chances. We'll see what we get. So part of today's show is trying a new frozen meal. I need to sort of diversify my food consumption. So I was looking for some healthier options, but a lot of those were microwave only, and currently my microwave is, well, it's not working. Need to get a new one. So we're trying this Stouffer cheddar potato bake, which I don't remember ever seeing before. So that's going to be part of today's show. So stay tuned. And here's the other part of Taking Chances, episode 1. You got a scratcher ticket. Obviously I risked big money. There's $1 up in the corner, but we are going to see if we can win big. Okay, so first time we've done one of these scratchers in a long time. Got my special scratcher casino chip that I'm going to use here that someone sent me. All right, there we go. We need the number 5 on one of these other scratching locations. 7. Got a 3. This isn't going so well so far. I got a 4, so you can win 6 times. How about 1 time? And yeah, and I don't know if this even does anything, but we didn't win anything on this either. So the first part of these, taking chances show didn't turn out so well. We've got the cheddar potato bake thing in the oven, so we'll be back once that completes cooking, and we'll tell you what we think of it, and we'll reminisce a little bit more about some of our Las Vegas trips. Stay tuned. All right, so no luck on the scratcher's ticket. I don't know if we'll do that again, but thought it'd be kind of a fun way to incorporate the taking chances concept. My lunch is still cooking in the oven, so we're going to start talking about what I call the sort of forgotten years of my Vegas trips. Last week we talked about the trips I took in 1996, 97, and 98. And the trips I took in 99, 2000, and 2001 are probably the ones I have the fewest memories of. And it wasn't because of, alcoholic intoxication or anything. I think one of the things that started to happen as you entered the 21st century was there weren't nearly as many new hotels coming online. Between the first time I arrived in Las Vegas, which would have been April of 1996, and the end of the decade, we saw an enormous number of new hotels come online, and just trying to go from south to north, if I can remember all of them, Mandalay Bay, New York, Monte Carlo, Paris, Bellagio, the Venetian. All of those hotels came online basically during the first 2 or 3 trips that I took to Las Vegas. And then there was kind of a lull, and we didn't have any new properties until the Wynn in the early 2000s. So that may be why I don't have as many memories of this. So I'll share a few of the things that I do remember, and then we'll have a little bit of lunch. I'll tell you what I think of the Stouffer's potato bake. But 1999, there's only about 3 things I remember about this trip. 1, my car broke down on the way to the airport, which is not a good thing. I had stopped for lunch at a very highly rated property on the south side of Kansas City called Hooters. When I went out to the car, it wouldn't start. It just seemed completely dead. And again, I was probably going to fly out in a few hours. So fortunately, there was not just a gas station, but an actual service station right next door.
So I walked over there and told them the situation, gave them the keys, and told them that I would call them at some point over the next couple of days to decipher what was wrong with the vehicle. And I called a cab, which took me to the airport, which the airport in Kansas City is way on the north side of town. So that was kind of an expensive cab ride. I don't remember how much it was. And then I ended up arranging with one of those airport shuttle services to take me back to Lawrence. But that was perhaps somewhat different. The interesting thing, when I arrived at that on that trip, I ended up taking a limo to my hotel. I was stayed at the Riviera. I'd played a lot at the Riviera on my last trip and had pretty good comps there. I don't remember if it was absolutely free. I doubt it was, but it was probably something like $25 a night or something. So that was a pretty good deal at the time, and I had enjoyed staying and playing at the Riviera. So I was headed there. I was going to take one of those old-fashioned airport shuttles, and ended up getting, I don't know if I would say accosted, but someone said, hey, you want to ride in this limo? It's only X number of dollars, basically the same price. I'm like, sure. Ended up riding with one other person. I don't remember if they stopped at the Riv or not, but it's a beautiful limo. It cost less than $10. There was no champagne and flowers or anything, but it was, it was kind of cool, actually. First time I think I'd ever been in a limo. But otherwise, like I said, the trip is pretty nondescript. I mean, I guess I just wandered around and played, and like I said, not a lot of memories. People often ask me how I remember all these trips. Well, at one point I wrote them all down. Can't really see that, it's reversed, but I did. But I remember very little else about this trip. I did drop the book. I did at one point go to the Hard Rock Hotel, which of course was on Paradise and Harmon. And I thought to myself, well, Paradise comes right up behind the Riviera, so I can just walk back to the hotel and just enter through the back way. Well, you can do that. Well, you could do that when either of those hotels existed, but it's a longer walk than I thought it was going to be, and it was a little bit shady. There are parts of Paradise Road that are not particularly pleasing. It wasn't like I was chased by gang members or anything, but wouldn't necessarily recommend that walk. So that was the 1999 trip. Okay, so the food is nearly done. It's just going to be about 15 minutes or so. So let's go ahead and talk about my trip in the year 2000. This one has a few interesting features that I will go ahead and share with you. First and foremost, I decided for some reason it would be a good idea to take the Greyhound bus to Las Vegas. Probably not, but I did. Of course, it's a long ride. It's not a particularly comfortable ride. You get to ride with some very curious people. There's some interesting stops along the way. I know we stopped in Denver. We had to change buses in Denver. And then we had like a middle of the night stop in Grand Junction, Colorado. And God bless the people of Grand Junction, Colorado. I wish them no ill will. That is the shadiest bus stop I've ever been at. It was genuinely scary, particularly at like 3, 4 in the morning. Would not recommend it. And then the sun came up, we went through Utah, and we had to stop at St. George, Utah, which I think is one of the most beautiful little cities anywhere. I've honestly thought about retiring there on many occasions. It's about 2.5, 3 hours from Las Vegas, which is kind of a nice distance to keep me from losing all my Social Security money, but at the same time close enough that it's a reasonable trip. But like I said, beautiful place. The bus station in Las Vegas, and this is going to change, I'm not sure where it's going to go, was literally right next door to the Plaza. I don't know why I didn't stay at the Plaza. I stayed at Sahara for kind of 5 nights. I'll explain that in just a minute. Ended up meeting up again with the 2 young ladies that I had met up with on my first trip to Las Vegas, my friends Nicole and Tammy. Nicole had at least a significant other. I don't know if they were married at that point. I think they got married. I don't know. If you're watching this, Nicole, let me know. But So we spent a lot of time together. They stayed at the Flamingo again, so I made a lot of walks from Sahara down to Flamingo, or at least somewhere between the two. Did get to check out a couple of things I probably never would have done on my own. Went to the Wax Museum at the Venetian. That's one of those things, if you've never been to a wax museum, it's kind of a cool thing to do. If you've been to one, I don't know that you ever need to go to another one, honestly, but it was kind of fun. And then, I don't know, I made the mistake of agreeing to go on the Manhattan Express, the roller coaster at New York, New York. I'm not a roller coaster person. I did not enjoy myself. It is my understanding this is a very bumpy, rough roller coaster from people that enjoy that sort of thing. And I can concur that it was. I probably had my eyes closed most of the time. I did not like it. I did not get sick or anything, but I did not enjoy myself at all. I don't think I've been on a roller coaster since. I tried a couple of them back in the day, and yeah, I'm kind of done with that. But that's the things I remember about that trip. Like I said, I stayed at the Sahara. My bus returning to Lawrence left at like 3, 4 in the morning, so that's why I said I didn't really spend 5 nights there. I spent sort of 4.5 nights. But yeah, so meeting up with some friends, taking the bus, and trying a couple of things in Las Vegas that I will probably never try again. That is my memories of 2000. Let's take a break until our food is ready. We'll try that out, and then we'll talk about my 2001 trip. Stay tuned. Okay, we're back. Food's ready. Got my Frontiersman Travel Adventures t-shirt on, which my friend Walt was kind enough to just send me out of the blue. I have like 3 of them in a coffee mug, so thank you, Walt. If you're not subscribed to the Frontiersman, you should be. Does a lot of travel in and around Las Vegas. His last video, I think, was of the Gold Coast, so definitely check him out. Okay, so this is what we had today. It's going to be reversed, obviously. We are trying the cheddar potato bake from Stouffer's. By their own description, it is russet potatoes and a cheddar cheese sauce with bacon topped with breadcrumb. Doesn't sound too bad. Not a lot of meat in it. Here's what it kind of looks like out of the box here. And sorry, PJ, I know you don't like videos where people eat, but we're going to try this out and see what we think of it. Let it set for about a minute or so, which is what they recommend. And some of it just fell on the floor. All right, so here we go. Trying the It's okay. Let me take another bite here. I don't love the potatoes. The cheese sauce is very understated. It's not particularly strong. So it kind of lacks flavor. You can taste the bacon. I like the breadcrumbs. They give it a nice little crunch. We're going to try one more bite here. Like I said, I don't love the potato part of it. It would almost be better if it was just like mashed potatoes. Yeah, I mean, it's decent. I can and probably will finish it. I don't know that I'm going to purchase this again. I don't think this is a repeat meal. Like I said, it's just, it sounds like it would be really flavorful with the cheddar cheese and the bacon and everything, but it's really kind of bland. And it's like I said, it's like 510 calories. If you're going to get 510 calories out of your lunch, you'd hope it would be a little bit tastier than this. So that's my thought. And I dropped some of it on the floor, which is great. 5-minute rule. So, and I did cook it in the oven. As I mentioned, I need to get a new microwave, which I should have. I've needed to get a new microwave for like a month, but I haven't done it. And generally, these meals come out better in the oven. That's been my experience over the last 6 weeks or so. But so I don't think putting it in the microwave would make it better. But there you go. We took a couple of chances today. We didn't hit any money on the scratcher ticket. And I don't think we have a new go-to frozen meal either. But we'll finish that here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and finish up the show here, the Wednesday show for you today. Talk about my trip to Las Vegas in 2001. Again, I took kind of a new approach to getting to Las Vegas that year. I don't know if they're still around, but for a lot of years, there was a company called FunJet that operated a lot of tours to Las Vegas. It had like chartered airlines. And they offered flights out of Kansas City at that time. And I think I was particularly broke at this particular time. So they had a great deal to fly in and out, fly in for like 4 nights, come back, stayed at the Palace Station, stayed in the O.J. Simpson adjunct, which is the old motel tower, not the motel towers, the motel rooms out back. You know, they were fine. I didn't have a problem with it. It's a little bit of a walk back to the casino and everything. I actually kind of liked Palace Station. They had I mean, still, I don't know, they had a Krispy Kreme donuts, so every morning I would get like a cup of coffee and a couple of donuts, and that was good for me. They also had a shuttle, I think they still do, that took you to the Strip, so I didn't spend a ton of time actually right in Palace Station, but wandered around again. First time I actually stayed off the Strip. Still end up spending quite a bit of time on the north end of the Strip, just because Palace Station's on the north end of the Strip. And by the way, you can walk from Palace Station to Las Vegas Boulevard, but again, it's one of those things I don't entirely recommend. There's some difficult parts of that, particularly when you're like trying to cross underneath the freeway. Or over the freeway. It's a little bit scary. So there you go. But yeah, so like I said, I don't know. Is FunJet still around? Anybody know? No, it's definitely a different experience when you take a chartered airline or even something like Allegiant. You don't have nearly the flexibility, and obviously if there's some sort of a problem and your flight gets canceled, you're kind of, up the creek for a while. So, but anyway, that was a 2001 trip. Like I said, I don't really remember much of anything about it, and was kind of the theme of today's show. 1999, 2000, 2001 trips were really not so memorable, except for the few things that I mentioned here today. My my scratcher ticket was certainly not memorable, and sadly, and I like a lot of the Stouffer's frozen meals, but the cheddar potato bake, also not so good. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in to the first ever episode of the Wednesday show. We'll be back on Saturday with Vegas Weekly. Till then, I hope you have a great and lucky week. We will see you soon. Bye-bye.